Was COVID-19 sent to Earth by life from another planet in a mad attempt to drive down real estate prices and drive up ramen noodle sales? Let's talk about misinformation in the time of pandemics. Welcome to Shareable Science. Science you can share. The virus that causes COVID-19 isn't the only thing circulating around the globe in the midst of this pandemic. Information, some of it correct, some of it not, is also moving around like wildfire. Let's talk a little bit about why it's so easy for misinformation to circulate in the midst of something like a pandemic. The first thing is pretty straightforward. There's a whole lot of information, and it's challenging to be able to process it. It's coming at us from multiple channels, and there's a rush to try to get it out there because it might be useful for healthcare workers or for families or for policymakers. And much of that information has a fair amount of uncertainty around it. And as humans, we don't like uncertainty. We want answers that are hard and fast. This is what this means. Here's what you need to do about it. There's a simple solution to solve this problem. That is not the case with COVID-19. And we find that frustrating and we gravitate towards the easier answers. It's difficult to prioritize the information. So that little piece of research that I just saw on 5 people, does that get as much attention as the 1,000-person clinical trial? It shouldn't, but sometimes it does. There's also the challenge of the way information is shared. And in today's world, where higher numbers of viewers can translate into higher dollars, you can begin to monetize sharing of information. Add that to the fact that the human brain likes novelty. We crave something different. We don't like the same thing over and over. So somebody that creates an outlandish story and posts it online may get a whole lot of clicks just because our brain goes, ooh, that's different, not because it's correct. We also have to deal with hidden agendas and unconscious biases. These are two sides of the coin. Agendas are for the person that is actually putting the content out. Biases are as we are perceiving the information. So is someone trying to tell a story because they want to sell something or because they have a worldview that they want you to believe? And on the flip side, am I more likely to agree with that because of my unconscious perceptions? Just being aware of the fact that information can be biased and that my response to it also can have a bias can help us pause as we're looking at this data. Sometimes misinformation is unintentionally shared. That's the family relative who puts something on Facebook because they want to make sure everybody knows about a way to stay safe or something that they should avoid. But oftentimes it can be intentionally shared to sow confusion and to cause problems. And in our world, share is the way we work. Social media channels 24/7. It's easy to like, to retweet, to forward. So we live in a world that is driven by us moving information. That can be great in the middle of an emergency to make sure people get the right information. It also can overwhelm them with data that makes it difficult to know how to separate what's right from what's wrong. And then lastly, sometimes it's hard for us to be able to separate out the difference between an opinion piece and a news piece. In a news piece, we're providing the data. These are the facts. This is how the story unfolded. In an opinion piece, I'm putting my personal perspective, my beliefs onto the news and telling you how this news should affect you and why I think it's important for you to pay attention to this and take action or not. So that's a whole lot of content, but that's what's happening for you and me right now. Every time we open any kind of news channel, anytime we open a social media channel, we are being bombarded from multiple perspectives. So what can you and I do about that? It's important for us to think about how we fact check. Sometimes we just fact check by gut. This doesn't sound right. The author is using the words always and never, or is heavily showing an opinion. Here are some sites that I would recommend you can look at. I look at these sites when I'm fact checking stories. Some of them are crafted or run specifically by scientists who have expertise in these areas. Others are by journalists that are trying to fact check the science that's being shared across different outlets. The other way that you can fact check is you can use your favorite search engine. Look at the author of the article. What can you tell about them? Do they have any expertise in the area that they're talking about? Who seems to pay them? What else have they written? If they put an outlandish claim together, you can search it and see if anybody has refuted it or if other data backs it up. So what I'm asking you, what I am begging you as a science educator and science communicator is pause before you share. There's a lot of worthy information that is worth passing around. There's a lot of junk that's being passed around, and sometimes it's difficult for people to distinguish between the two. Resist the temptation to pass something on just because it makes you feel good or you think, oh, well, that's really interesting, especially in the middle of a pandemic. Think about the impact of what you are sharing with someone else who may have a difficult time distinguishing information from misinformation. I hope you find that this video is worth sharing and is full of good information. Please pass it on to family and friends. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.